hunt is on for the person who attacked Ann Presley, a TV news anchor in Arkansas. Joining us from Little Rock is Presley's friend and former co-worker, Matt DeCample. And in Washington, former FBI agent and criminal profiler, Greg McCrary. Good morning to you both.
Morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
Matt, let me begin with you. I know you've been to the hospital a couple of times since Ann was admitted. How's she doing?
Well, she's still critical, but the good news is that she's still stable this morning, and that's really what everyone's been watching, and a lot of friends and family have gathered at the hospital, and it's a long road ahead, but we're glad to see that she's staying stable.
I know that you worked at Channel 7, where she's an anchor. Is there anything that leads you to believe that she could have been targeted?
Well, you know well, Maggie, anyone who's in TV, you have fans, and you have the vast majority of them, especially here in Arkansas, are great people, and they just come up and say hi to you in the grocery store or wherever. But everyone has also those few odd ones, and of course the station checks into those. You just never know, who might go a step too far. Of course, there's a lot of people you may never hear of, and no one knows for sure if it was something like that, if it was something random, and that's probably the toughest thing on a lot of people out here right now, is just the unknown.
Let's get the perspective of a criminal profiler. Greg, so far police say it appears this was random. There was no sign of forced entry. Do you think it could have been more than that?
Well, we have to be very careful. The investigators have to be very careful at this point not to get tunnel vision and get a constricted view of what this may or may not be. These cases often are not what they appear to be when we first look at them. So that's one hypothesis. But what they have to do is challenge that as well. Look at all the things that support that this is a random act of violence or maybe a robbery gone bad. But then also bring me all the evidence that contradicts that. And you have to look at the possibility of stalking, of victim-targeted crime, as well as random violence. So how investigations go bad is when tunnel vision sets in, then confirmation bias sets in. We begin to look at only those pieces of evidence that support the dominant theory and so forth. So it's got to be very open and very objective until they can narrow this down.
Do you think there's any significance to the fact that this happened in her bedroom, Greg?
Well, I think we have to be very careful with this idea of no forced entry. That's significant only if we know that home was locked that evening. Not that she usually locks it, or whatever, but was it locked that evening? And a lot of things we don't know. Certainly the attack in the bedroom. The question that I haven't seen addressed is, was there sexual assault or not? This could change the entire scope of the investigation. It could be sort of a big change in who we're looking for if that's the case. For example, some sex offenders take items, personal items, as a trophy or souvenir. So apparently her purse was taken. So is that robbery, or is it something that someone took just as a trophy or souvenir? So these are questions that we have to answer and keep an open mind about all of this at this point.
Matt, what does your gut tell you? What is her family thinking happened to Ann?
Well, I've been talking mostly with a lot of her friends, and all of us who worked with her at the station still do, or around town. It seems really hard for a lot of people to think that this could be completely random. Of course, we don't know. Little Rock police are working really hard on the case, and they've been kind of limited with the information, of course, because the investigation's still going on. But it's hard for a lot of people to imagine, just with all the circumstances and where she lived in town and everything that factored into this, that it could have been something completely random. But again, we don't know, and for a lot of people, that's just the toughest part.
I'm sure. Well, our prayers are with Ann, Matt DeCample, and Greg McCrary. Thank you both.